Hello everyone, welcome to the School Bus Guru channel. My name is Antonio and I am your School Bus Guru. We are back in the Behind the Wheel Guide review. We are going through skill level 2. We had just finished going over the straight line backing, gradual backing crossover, and sharp backing crossover, and now we are about to get into the 4 remaining backing maneuvers. So grab your Behind the Wheel Guide and let's begin. We are on page skill level 2-14. Backing weave, backing weave, backing weave. All right, once again, performance is you performing it. Training is the trainee performing it. But before I go through the performance section, let's go to the training section. Go to step number 6, where at the middle of step number 6, it says the right and left edges of the available roadway or an object centered on the rear of the vehicle is used as a reference. That's how you want to set up the cones behind you or whatever you are using behind you. Performance. Again, I'm going to jump into the bus. I'm going to demonstrate it to the trainee what it is that we are going to be doing, because when you mention back and weave, I believe most trainees, they don't know what you're talking about, back and weave. There's a certain way that we want them to do it, so with you demonstrating it, that would be the best way for them to see exactly what is going on. So I know what the vehicle reference and ground reference are. You're going to position the vehicle accordingly. You're going to check all mirrors before backing. You're going to place a transmission in reverse, and you're going to release the parking brake. You're going to use a dead throttle start. You're going to turn the steering wheel gradually to the left, watching the right flat mirror until the blind area comes into view. And then you're going to turn the steering wheel gradually to the right, watching the left flat mirror until the blind area comes into view. Then you're going to be repeating steps 6 and 7 all the way until you reach your objective. You're basically going this way, that way, that way, that way, that way, right? All right, now you get to the training section. Say this is another day, kind of like it is today. You will explain the purpose and objective of the lesson to the trainee. You might as well go over the glossary of terms as well. You will have the trainee position. You will have Johnny. Johnny, I need you to position the vehicle accordingly. I want you to check all mirrors before backing. I want you to place a transmission in reverse gear and release the parking brake. And I want you to use a dead throttle start. Excuse me. You will have the trainee. Johnny, I need you to turn the steering wheel gradually to the left. Watch the right flat mirror until the blind area comes into view, which is going to be that other cone if you set them up on the edges of the lane. Once they come into view, you're going to have the trainee, you're going to have Johnny turn the steering wheel gradually to the right, watching the left flat mirror until the blind area comes into view. The weave of the vehicle will eliminate or diminish the blind spot. So at some point, either in that first, second, third time, you want to tell them that this is a maneuver that they could use if they ever go into a dead-end street and they need to back up all the way from where they entered. They're going to be able to see the blind area directly behind them. When you were teaching them about the blind spots around the bus, you probably showed them, hey, there's a huge blind spot directly behind the bus. Well, this is how you make that blind area smaller. Johnny must keep the vehicle within the available safe space while completing this maneuver, and they must monitor the mirrors at all times. Last paragraph. In real-life situations, when backing within 1 or 2 vehicle lengths, the backing weave is not suggested. Under these circumstances, a visual inspection of the area by the driver and assistance from another person would be advisable. Piece of cake, right? All right, let's go on to the next page, skill level 2-15, backing around a corner or into a stall. Performance. Again, you are the instructor or the delegate, and you're going to perform it for them. You, as the instructor or delegate, know what the vehicle reference and ground reference are. You are going to align the vehicle on the left side of the ground reference. You're going to check all mirrors before backing. You're going to place a transmission in reverse gear and release the parking brake. And you're going to begin backing using a dead throttle start, observing the right flat mirror. Ensure that the vehicle reference does not come into contact with a problem object. And on step number 7. When the vehicle reference reaches the beginning of the curve, start turning the steering wheel toward the ground reference. That's the point. When their rear tire, their vehicle reference, gets to that point on the curve where it begins to curve, or at that point on the line, whatever it is that you're using, wherever it begins to curve, that's when it's time for them to start turning the steering wheel. After completing the turn, stop and secure the vehicle, switch out seats, and now it's time for Johnny to jump into the seats. Again, you will explain the purpose and objective of the lesson to the trainee. You will identify the vehicle reference and ground reference. You're going to tell them, hey, this is the vehicle reference, this is the ground reference, and this is the point where the curb starts to curve. You will exit the vehicle. You will identify the plane of the vehicle. Again, we still use all of those vehicle references, all of that terminology. You will identify the rear tire. The bottom of the rear tire is the vehicle reference whenever backing, and you will identify the ground reference. You will explain parallel and measuring techniques. Yep, we always do that. Then you will go back inside the bus. You will have the trainee align the vehicle parallel to the left side of the ground reference and within 12 inches of the ground references using a dead throttle start. You will have the trainee bring the vehicle to a stop and exit the vehicle. You and the trainee will walk 20 feet to the front, 20 feet to the rear to view the plane of the vehicle for alignment. You will have the trainee measure the distance between the vehicle reference and the ground reference, and the vehicle must be parallel to and within 12 inches of the ground reference. You and the trainee will go back inside the vehicle. You and Johnny will. You will have Johnny place the transmission in reverse and release the parking brake. Again, turn on the hazard lights, sound the horn if that's your policy. Then you will have Johnny check all the mirrors before backing the vehicle. You're going to turn the page to SL2-16. You will have Johnny use the rear wheels as the vehicle reference and begin backing with a dead throttle start, observing the right flat mirror. Johnny must ensure that the vehicle reference does not come into contact with any problem objects. I'm going to tell Johnny that when the vehicle reference reaches the beginning of the curve, Johnny's going to start turning the steering wheel toward the ground reference. And then he goes on to say in parentheses, the amount of steering may vary because of the sharpness of the curve and the turning radius of the vehicle. The vehicle's path may deviate from the arc of the curve. Again, the goal here is to begin parallel and within 12 inches and to finish parallel and within 12 inches. If you're able to create or find a curb that is pretty much perfect for the bus, where they might be able to stay within 12 inches all the way around, then use that. But if you cannot find one of those places, or you don't have one of those lines painted anywhere in your yard, then yes, as long as they begin and end parallel and within 12 inches, it's good. If they go out further than 12 inches in the middle of the curve, the arc, that is also okay, as long as they can finish. When Johnny completes the turn, he's going to realign the vehicle parallel to and within 12 inches of the ground reference. And then I'm going to have Johnny secure the vehicle. We're going to exit the vehicle and walk 20 feet to the front and 20 feet to the rear of the vehicle to view the plane of the vehicle for alignment. And then I'm going to have Johnny, I don't know why I keep saying Victor, Johnny, I'm going to have Johnny measure the distance between the vehicle reference and the ground reference, and the vehicle must be parallel to and within 12 inches of the ground reference. Again, there's another diagram here, another picture. Show them that picture. On page skill level 2-17, when Johnny has shown competency in this maneuver, you will have Johnny realign the vehicle and back around the corner or into a stall from the opposite side. So you're doing both sides. This maneuver will show Johnny the difference in the visibility between the left flat mirror and the right flat mirror. Again, the reason why we want them to do it on both sides is because we want them to really start to get used to, hey, this is what things look like on the left side, this is what things look like on the right side. Again, there's another note similar to all of the others, where for training purposes, an instructor can refine the trainee's skills and check for depth perception by stopping the vehicle several times during the maneuver. However, the trainee must demonstrate correctly the ability to perform these skills in a continuous motion for competency. Next maneuver is backing Serpentine. Performance, you're going to perform it for them. You already know how to set it up. Align the vehicle parallel to the right or left of the ground reference, and using a dead throttle start, back the vehicle non-stop in a weaving motion through the line of cones or the indicators, clearing the first cone indicator on one side of the vehicle or the next cone indicator on the other side of the vehicle. Now you're going to go into the training. All right, I'm going to explain the purpose and objective of the lesson again to Johnny. I'm going to go over the glossary of terms. Do you have any questions? Number one, I've already selected a site that is free of traffic and distractions and that has a ground reference of at least 300 feet or longer. I will place traffic cones or another indicator at the beginning of the ground reference, and I will pace off or measure the length of the vehicle plus 10. So if I'm using a 40-foot long vehicle, I'm going to measure the distance between each of those cones, 50 feet. And place another cone indicator at that point along the ground reference. Number 4, we will repeat this setup until 5 or more cones or indicators have been placed along the ground reference. Number 5, we will identify the rear tires as the vehicle's reference when backing. And number 6, we will identify the ground reference, which is the line connecting the cones or the indicators. Number 7, we will go back inside the vehicle. Number 8, we will have Victor, let's just call him Victor from now on. We will have Victor position the vehicle using a dead throttle start, parallel to and within 12 inches of the right ground reference. And I will have Victor and I exit the vehicle and walk 20 feet to the front and rear of the vehicle to view the plane of the vehicle for alignments. I'm going to have Victor measure the distance between the vehicle reference and the ground reference, and the vehicle must be parallel and within 12 inches of the ground reference. Number 11, we will re-enter the vehicle. I'm going to have Victor back the vehicle using a dead throttle start in a straight line while he observes the left flat mirror. When the left vehicle reference is adjacent to the first cone or indicator, Victor will turn the steering wheel to the left. Victor's vision will then move to the right flat mirror. When Victor can see the next cone or indicator, he or she should straighten the steering wheel and continue backing until the right vehicle reference is adjacent, which is next to the next cone or indicator. And step number 14, I'm going to instruct Victor that once the vehicle reference is adjacent to the next cone indicator, he should steer to the right and change vision from the right to the left flat mirror. And number 15, we will have Victor repeat this procedure until all of the cones or indicators have been cleared and the vehicle is parallel to the ground reference. And again, you're going to have them do this several times, just like all of the other maneuvers. Once you know that they have it down, again, like what I say, once I think that they have it down, or once I know that they have it down, I'm just going to say, hey, do it 2 more times in a row, and then we're done. So yes, do that. And the last paragraph is, again, when the trainee has shown competency in this maneuver, the instructor will have the trainee position the vehicle on the opposite side of the ground reference and then have the trainee repeat the maneuver. This will show the trainee the difference in the visibility between the left flat mirror and the right flat mirror. So you're going to have them do it on both sides, starting off from this side, starting off from that side. And again, one final note, as the maneuver becomes easier for the trainee, reduce the distance between the cone's indicators, that is, the length of the vehicle plus 10, cover up one mirror, flat or convex, or one side of the vehicle and a different mirror on the other side of the vehicle, and allow the trainee to try to back the vehicle. Allow the trainee to stop during the maneuver if necessary. No comment on that, but you can leave a comment on that part below. All right, let's go into our final backing maneuver, which is parallel parking, precision parallel parking procedures. The note: when teaching this lesson, an instructor should realistically simulate the situation for the trainee. Yes, we do that. The instructor may prefer to use a painted line or a tape line to represent a curb and thereby prevent damage to the tires from contact with the curb. The lesson will require 2 adjustable barriers. The barriers are to be placed at each end of the stall and at right angles to the curb. Different types and sizes of vehicles require different setups. For example, if you're going to be training someone in a transit, which let's just stick with the transit on page skill level 2-19, we know that a transit is The parking space should be equal to the length of the vehicle plus 6. Transit buses are 40 feet long. You're going to set up the parallel parking space to 46 feet. First paragraph beneath that shaded area. To be competent in this procedure, the trainee must be able to back into the parking space without hitting either the front or rear barrier and without touching the curb with the tires. The vehicle must be parallel to and no more than 18 inches. So this is the only one that says 18 inches, and that's because that's what the vehicle code states. Whenever we parallel park, we have to be within 18 inches, but that's pretty far away. Again, the vehicle must be parallel to and no more than 18 inches from the curb upon completion of this maneuver, and the trainee must be able to exit the parking space without contacting the barrier. So they must be able to get in and then must be able to go out. The trainee makes this maneuver with the parking space position on the right of the vehicle. This procedure should be performed as though the trainee were in a lane of traffic with other motorists. When approaching the parking space, the trainee must signal his or her intent to park in advance to warn other motorists. The trainee must ensure that the vehicle is parallel to the parking space and constantly monitor the mirrors on both the sides of the vehicle. Use the turn signals. Start to get them to get used to that. This is like they're almost about to get out there to the road. Sure, you have to teach them how to do the round right turn, sharp right turn, left turn, but this is just another step, for them to start realizing that they're getting closer to be driving out there on the road. All right, so you go to the performance. Again, the performance is for you to demonstrate to the trainee. So let's see if we can go back to Johnny. Johnny, I'm going to position the vehicle parallel to the curb, approximately 6 to 12 inches away from the outside edges of the barriers. I'm going to stop the vehicle when the rear axle is even with the front barrier. I'm going to turn the steering wheel full lock right. I'm going to place a transmission in reverse and start to back the bus slowly. I'm going to be looking for the inside edge of the back barrier. When it is visible in the left flat mirror, I'm going to straighten the wheels. I'm going to continue to back carefully until the right rear tire is the correct distance from the curb. Turn the steering wheel full lock left until the vehicle clears the front barrier. Continue monitoring the right flat mirror until the back outside dual tire is approximately 12 inches from the curb. The front of the vehicle should be approximately 3 to 4 feet behind the front barrier. And when the rear axle is 6 inches from the curb, stop the vehicle. Turn the steering wheel full lock right. Drive the vehicle forward while adjusting the steering wheel. When the vehicle is parallel to and within 18 inches of the curb or curb line, stop. That sounded like a lot, didn't it? Let's go on to the training section. That way we can finish this video. This is probably going to be the shortest one, which is fabulous because it's time for a break. Training. I'm going to explain the purpose and objective of the lesson to Johnny. I'm going to have Johnny position the vehicle parallel to the curb and approximately 6 to 12 inches from the outside edges of the barrier. I'm going to have Johnny stop the vehicle when the rear axle is even with the front barrier. So he's going to be positioned before getting to the parallel parking space, 6 to 12 inches away. He's going to start using a death throttle start. He's going to pass the first barrier, pass the second barrier. When his rear tire is adjacent to the front barrier with the rear axle, that's when he's going to stop. We're going to exit the vehicle and check that the bus is parallel to and properly distanced from the barrier. We're going to re-enter the vehicle. We're going to have Johnny check the mirrors to identify the front and rear barriers. I want to make sure that they can see the front and rear barriers. They may have to lower the head to the right to see the rear one. I'm going to have Johnny turn the steering wheel full lock right and place the transmission in reverse, and with a dead throttle start, begin to back the bus slowly. Going to tell Johnny that when he can see the inside edge of the back barrier in the left mirror, he or she should stop the vehicle and straighten the steering wheel. I'm going to confirm the position of the vehicle. I'm going to tell Johnny that he or she must change vision to the right flat mirror and continue to back carefully until the right rear tire is the correct distance from the curb or curb line. The trainee must then stop the vehicle. Number 9. We are gonna exit the vehicle and check the vehicle position. Then we're going to re-enter the vehicle, and we are going to tell Johnny to turn the steering wheel full lock left and continue to back. The trainee may need to adjust, so Johnny may need to adjust his or her steering to clear the front barrier. Number 12, I'm going to tell the trainee that when the right rear tire is approximately 12 inches away from the curb or curb line, the front of the vehicle should be approximately 3 to 4 feet behind the front barrier. The trainee, Johnny, must monitor the right flat mirrors and stop the vehicle when the right rear tire is 6 inches away from the curb or curb line. Johnny must avoid the vehicles contacting the back barrier. And number 13, we're going to exit the vehicle and check the position of the vehicle. And number 14, we are going to re-enter the vehicle. Step number 15, I'm going to tell Johnny to turn the steering wheel full lock right and drive the vehicle forward while making steering corrections. And when the vehicle is parallel to and within 18 inches of the curb or curb line, Johnny will stop the vehicle, and then we are going to exit the vehicle and check the position of the vehicle. On skill level 2-21, you do have some diagrams to show the trainee in case they have any questions. And beneath that picture, you should have written in that when the trainee has shown competency in this maneuver, the instructor will have the trainee position the vehicle with the parking space on the left side of the vehicle and then have the trainee repeat the maneuver. This will show the trainee the difference in the visibility between the left flat mirror and the right flat mirror. And then, of course, pulling out of the parking space. Check all mirrors, pull out slowly, watch the front barrier, and check the tail swing of the vehicle to ensure that the vehicle doesn't strike an object. Remember, the greater the distance between the rear axle and the rear bumper, the greater the tail swing of the vehicle. You have some pictures to show down at the bottom. Show the trainee those pictures. Wow, well, that was the end of the backing maneuvers. Glad that didn't take so long, but again, I hope that you are enjoying these training videos. I will continue to go through the behind the wheel guide. I have kind of figured out that we will have approximately 12 parts. Again, thank you very much for watching. Hit like and subscribe. Leave any comments, any questions in the comment box down below. Thank you very much and have a great day, have a great week, have a great month. Bye-bye.